What we've learned in this project, communication is key.
We needed to allocate the resources to it, but also make sure that we didn't burn the resources out.
There is probably 20 to 40 tours outside our doors at all times throughout the whole day.
They wanted to build a space that was comfortable, enjoyable, bright, airy, and a space that people can collaborate in. Location with a very good infrastructure, which is a central location in the centre of Dublin City.
We had to have a deep thought about how we coordinate the mechanical services and the electrical services through the castellation of the building structure. The way we used BIM was great because we didn't take the original BIM model from the building. We brought in a specialist to conduct a point cloud survey so that we had a live view of how the building was constructed, and we coordinated mechanical services through that process.
We invested in a point cloud survey at the beginning of this project, and the reason being is to identify clashes and the foreseeable clashes that we will face on the project. This was worth its time, its weight in gold for identifying the clashes that we were going to face.
So we were able to take the 3D image of every FCU, every duct, every light fitting, and place them within the room where it was compliant with the sprinkler system. And we were able to see that through the model prior to any of the materials coming to site. The digital twin, it was, I have to say, it was magnificent to actually be able to build it and sort of take away any of the problems which we would have had to coordinate on site. Well, we saved time, we saved money, we saved waste and rework. There were several big challenges with this building, one of them being the constraints of an inner city site. We've had one-way streets surrounding all sides of this building, and the logistical, the site management constraints of this project.
As most people know, Dublin Castle is a fairly big tourist attraction here in Dublin, and there is probably 20 to 40 tours outside our doors at all times throughout the whole day. Before we tender the job, we do have a site walk where we can identify our waste removals, loading, materials in, materials out, and the key challenge that this particular fit-out poses.
The most important thing, I suppose, with planning any project is a construction programme, and that is what we base our full project around. We can procure all our long lead items well in advance of the project commencing. We're devising a programme. We put in a completion date. That date never moves. We always meet those dates.
On this project, for example, it's a bit trickier than most. We don't have a skip because of the area we're in on Ship Street and Dublin Castle adjacent to us.
There's no car parking space, there's no loading bay area in the surrounding area, so we couldn't specifically get a permit for waste management.
We cannot leave a skip overnight unattended for any point at all. So the way we work our skips on this project is we have a 20-minute wait and load. What we do is we book it in for a certain time, and then that morning we're spent getting the rubbish from level 6 down to the -1 to get to street level. Once that's done and the skip is there, we've 20 minutes to fill the skip, which is all hands on deck, and then we clean up after ourselves, get back into the building, fresh bins onto the floor. And that happens usually 2 to 3 times a week.
We segregated the waste before we put it into the weight and load skips, and we recycled 98% of it.
The biggest challenge was access and trying to get those materials onto site, up onto the 6th floor.
We had to bring large and very long, heavy mechanical sort of sprinkler pipe to the 6th floor. So there were challenges in that, allocating labour. So we needed to allocate the resources to it, but also make sure that we didn't burn the resources out who were carrying it up the stairs. So that took meticulous management from our site team. But that's what experience brings you. You know, we have systems in place for pre-construction, for the construction, and for post-construction of every project. The AHU had a lead time almost of the length of our construction programme. Well, we needed to get it designed and we needed to get it built in a way that we could get it up onto the 6th floor. So this is a large piece of mechanical equipment which had to be broken down off-site and carried up through the building without a service lift.
What we've learned in this project, communication is key, particularly dealing with building management in particular. and how you coordinate your project.
So basically, I meet with the building manager Orlandis each morning around 8 a.m, have a quick coffee, quick catch up, and we just talk about the week's events, the day's events. For example, we have skips booked in, waste coming out through the basement. He's got events on in his convention centre, which needs us to have certain areas clear for them and make sure the areas are in good order. So we do need to coordinate every morning, which it is being done.
If you're drilling on the ground floor, it can be heard on the 6th floor. It vibrates right through the building. We restricted our noisy works to times that minimise the disruption to the tenant.
This relationship is key for the smooth running of our project on site.
We have a vast experience in all sectors of work, and we have a great team. And between all our team, there isn't nothing we cannot handle.
You face challenges every day. That's the industry we live in.
We are a specialist fit-out contractor, and this is what we do every day.
So success to me is delivering our client their vision, which is a modern, high-performing space that drives innovation.